Hello and welcome to the next episode in our mini-series on discrete choice experiments. And I want to share with you a kind of automatization that I introduced today. And the reason was very simple. After we have the new version of the SDT-Tool, it allows you to provide not only the PHP file that was actually pretty easy to use, but they also provide you with a JavaScript code. And you please refer to my previous videos where I show how to do it correctly and how not to do the mistake that I first made. If you make it with JavaScript, it means you go to the, I'm just trying to find a second, my SDT3. You will have something like this, and in the third version, they allow you to export not only to PHP, but also to export to JavaScript. And in the manual, the authors recommend to use JavaScript. If you remember, the big difference is if you export the PHP file, you have to store the PHP file on a server. And then from Qualtrics, you can establish a link to the server, and this will automatically import all the items and all the levels and all the attributes, whatever it generated with this PHP code. And I think many people had issue with this one because having an own server and buying it somewhere and uploading the file was a kind of too complicated. That is why they proposed the JavaScript. It means if you export it to JavaScript, whatever you have, you can then go to your Qualtrics. You go to your discrete choice experiment, and this is the one we are working on currently. It is not the final version, it's still in development. And they said that actually you should go to the first question, whatever it is, and go to JavaScript. And in JavaScript, to this question, you can just copy paste the code into under this line, Qualtrics survey engine add-on load function. It means when the page is being loaded, the following code is going to be run, and this code generates all the items and all the attributes that you manually entered to the SDT tool. And then theoretically it is faster, and you have whatever you need all in Qualtrics. But there is an issue, and please read the manual or watch the video that I called errata, because the first time I made this approach it worked so fine, but I forgot that if you do something like this, the JavaScript will generate the items, but the variables are not existent. They do not exist. Qualtrics doesn't know that you want to do something with data. That is why you have to go to the flow of your survey. You have to add an additional element, and in this element it's called the embedded data. I'm just going to show you first of all where you add it. I know we had it already in the videos, but it will be easier to explain what I'm doing now. You want to add a new element, and this new element will be, if my internet is back again, the embedded data. If you click on the embedded data, I'm clicking it on now, then you can enter here all the variable names. So although the items are generated, they are not stored because Qualtrics doesn't have a file where to store them, doesn't have a set of variables that should to be assigned with your items. That is why what you have to do is manually add all these variables. And in this experiment we have 14 trials, we have 7 attributes, and as you can see each has 2 items, so it is very painful adding it all manually. And after doing it once, when I spent I think about 45 minutes, and it was shorter, we had only 8 trials, I made 5 mistakes, so I had to go back and correct it, and it was really hard. That is why I thought about how to automate it, and I found an interesting option how to automate it. I want to share it with you, a short version, but I'm sure you can make the whole version on your own. You can add something from contacts, and I was eager, what can I add from contacts? And if you click on add from contacts, it asks you what would you like to add, and I had here nothing because I had no contact list. That is why I thought I can create a contact list. How do you do it? You go to your Qualtrics directions. Yes, we want to leave it. I don't want to save it because it is the running study and I don't want to save there anything. And you go in Qualtrics to lists when it is loaded, if it is loaded, and you can create a new list. And you have to create a new list name. In our event I called it DCE 14 × 7 because it was 14 trials with 7 attributes. but you can call it somehow different. So let's call it DCE YouTube, and confirm. And then it's going to ask you, what would you like to do? And you say, I would like to upload a file, but you need to create this file. And I think to create this file, it should contain these fields here. It should anyway contain this field. That's why we go to Excel, and in a new Excel, we create all the names that we need here. Email, then we have, I think phone was not obligatory, we can skip it, but we have first name, last name, these were obligatory. It's name, last name, then we have external data reference, Qualtrics ask you to be very precise with regards to capital letters. That's why we say, okay, I see already I wrote first name, last name with a big capital letter. Let's make it the regular one. So we have something like this, and the last one is the language. So theoretically, I can save this list, I can add my email. It's not very secret. Some of you write me already the emails. ci.edu, and the first name is the Eugene, Ukrainian spelling, Yevhen, and all of this stuff. And I don't need any other data here. And look at this one. If I add something, it adds an embedded data, and this is actually what I need to do. So theoretically, I just need to add all the fields that I need. And the question is, how can I do it? And I want to show you, if you go to your SDT, wherever it is, it should be somewhere here, SDT, and you imagine have already your attributes, levels, everything is filled. You go to edit and you export it to Qualtrics question templates. At the end, a list of questions will appear. For example, this one, this was for our first experiment. Go to the last one and open it with something. I use Notepad++, and look at the variables that you will need. And actually, you will need the variable f14.1. It means you will need all the variables f11, 21, 31, and so up to the 14th trial. Then you need the variable 14.1.1, 14.2.1, 14.14.2, and so on. What I did, I created a list for myself, and I just wrote there all the variables that I will need, and it looked like this. I just created the last variables that I will need to have, and it means if I have the variable f14.1, that I will also need the variable f11, 21, 31, and up to 14. The same with the 2, the same with the 3, so theoretically I will need all these variables like 14 times. Then I went to the next one and I created this simple trick. I just show you how it works. It's very, very simple. I thought that theoretically I can compose these items. They all start with the f minus, then the number comes, then the second number comes, and then some of them are short. If you can see it, for example, for 1, for 2, for 3, but some of them are long. They have 3 numbers, 4, 1, 1, because we have the 14 is the 14th trial. This is the 4th attribute, and this is the what they saw on the left-hand side, and this is what is on the right-hand side. That is why you need 3 numbers. So you create also 3 numbers here. So as you see, I have 2 numbers for the first one. And then I started from a certain point of time having 3 numbers. Yeah. So I create F, and I just made, let's go to the beginning. We can start with the beginning, make it a bit bigger. And I start with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, because I have 14 trials and it was 1. Now what I need to do is I need to create the variable, and you do it in German is verketten. In English, I think it was concatenates, but I'm not sure. Let's check this out. Let's see what we can do. I think Excel in English. And in English, this command is called concatenate. It means you are uniting, you're combining the cell from the other cells. In English, you have to put a comma. In German, you have to put a semicolon. And it works then like this. You create the concatenates open the brackets, then you write what actually, take this cell, then take this cell, then I tried the minus, but if you put minus in Excel, it automatically tries to minus something from something, so it wouldn't work. That's why you have to make the put minus like this, and at the end the third number, which we don't have here, but we will have it later. And that's how it is done. And theoretically you can just drag and drop it till all the numbers that you have here in a row. So the biggest challenge is for you just to write down all the variables how they can be, and actually it's not so much of writing, because if you make 1 to 14, you just select it, you copy it, and then you paste it, and you paste it 14 times because you have 14 trials. And again, here you have the 1, then you copy 1 and paste it 14 times, and then you copy 2 and paste it 14 times, and so on. And it is a kind of very easy task to do. Now the next is actually, if we have this one, but we need it not as the calculation but as a text, you copy all the numbers that you have here and you paste them somewhere here as the numbers. Then the formula behind it will be deleted and you can work with these final cells. And that's what I did here. I did it here. As you see, it is not the formula behind it. We have only the number here. Now you can select these numbers. And now I'm going to show you the big trick. Now you have selected it. We are going back to our Excel sheet, put it here, left hand side, left click and transpose. And all of a sudden you have all the variables here. Yeah. So finally, the problem is that if I try to, first time it didn't work just because I have no values here. That's why we need any value. Just take any value and paste it everywhere here until the end of this nice new data set. Now go to File, Save As, and you save it as, I'm just going to save it as something. Let's call it DCE YouTube. That I just know that it's different, and you save it not as an Excel, but you save it as a CSV. And click on Save. Now, if we open this file and we try to open this file, if we open this file DCE YouTube, now I need to find it, just a second. So here it is, DCE YouTube CSV. If I open it with the Notepad++, it will see, you will see that the limiter is now semicolon. It automatically puts semicolon. This is important because of what I'm going to show you in a second. Now we go back to Qualtrics and we say we would like to upload a file, and we drag and drop the file that we have just created. This is this one, and here we have to say that actually this semicolon is the delimiter, it is not a comma, and double quote for text, but actually we don't have any, but who knows, just leave it as it is. Click on Next. And here it is. It found all the variables I have added. All of a sudden you have all the variables. We have 30 pages of data, and we just click on Upload a file. And uploading goes fast, but this preparing might take a while, usually about 1 to 2 minutes. And I'm not sure whether we can do something while it is being imported. Important contacts. Indexing contacts. I think this one takes the longest, probably more than 1 minute. Okay, anyway, we can try while it is indexing to go back. Did it work? Did it add it to the list? Let's go to the list and see whether we have the list. Yes, we have a DCE YouTube. Seems to be here, although it is still being processed. We go back to our questionnaire. I have already done it today, but for you it will be the first time, so will look a bit different. We go to the discrete choice experiment that we are currently working on. Here we go to the survey flow. And in the survey flow, remember, we needed to add these additional variables. I'm not going to save them because, as you see, I have them already and I don't want to repeat or delete something because my colleagues are also working on this experiment. And we add a new element. Here it is the embedded data. Now, very important for you, if you want to save some nerves for the future, click on Move and move it now, because later this block will be too large and moving it will be very, very painful. That's why do it now while it is still very small. Now it is thinking, hopefully, yes, we have it. And now click on Add from Contacts. Please select, I'm going to my contact list, and this is our DCE YouTube. And select all, and all the fields that would be painful, that you would have to add all manually, are here. It will take a while with Excel, but think of the following, that you will need it for any additional experiment. If you make a new experiment, you will have probably less trials, more trials, or fewer trials, and then you can just delete the items from Excel. It's much easier, and import the file. And here we go. We have all the variables that me and my students spent hours on to enter it. The only negative consequence is that they are not sorted. As you see, they are somehow sorted, but it would be better to have them a bit differently sorted. For example, we start with all the variables that are with 1. So we have, first of all, 1, then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then you go to 2, and so on. This is a bit weird, but we have what we have. And then after you have all this data, you click on Apply. I will not click on Apply just because I have already the file and I don't want to do it. That's why I just go back. I don't save changes. And theoretically have all the variables you need, and this should make your life a little bit better. Enjoy this automation. If it doesn't work for you, let me know. I may upload the file. No, I will not, because there are my data there, but I think you know how to do it. If it doesn't work, write in the comments and I will upload the file somewhere to you have access to it. Good luck, enjoy, and all the best with your research. Bye-bye.